Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to cover the 16-month preparation strategy for CAT 25. Now we have roughly 16 months in our hand, and assuming you are somebody who has not done anything till now and you're just starting your preparation, this video will be very useful to you. There are three things that we're going to discuss. The first thing is going to be the preparation timeline. So when you are supposed to do what, it's something that we'll discuss. The second thing is going to be balancing your college or your work life along with your CAT preparation. And the third thing is going to be the habits that really create an impact in your preparation. So let's start discussing these one by one. Now, the first thing that I'm going to cover is going to be the entire preparation timeline. So what I've done is I have written down months and I have written down the things that you should be doing in these months. So for example, now when I say modules, these are essentially modules that we provide to our students. So to IMS students, the entire courseware that we have has been divided into different modules. There are module 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are CAT specific modules. So when I say module 1, I'm talking about the IMS courseware module 1. Now, what is the content of these modules? So IMS students get access to multiple things. There is an offline component of it, which is in the form of books. And there is the online content, which is available in My IMS, which is the student portal. So what I've written down is, as you can see on screen, within modules, the first thing that I've written under contents is theory and class exercise. So for every topic, there is a theory which covers the basic concepts, and there's a class exercise. Along with that, there is practice exercise and there is a benchmarking test which is available online. So the class exercise, practice exercise, these are also available online. So what I would suggest is you should start doing all of these. And when I say I'm covering a particular module, I should figure out for myself what all things I want to do, right? So we have taken a mastery based approach to learning. And when you do, let's say, benchmarking test of a particular topic, at the end of it, you get to see your level in that particular topic. So I would suggest that whenever you're doing a particular topic, you try and cover as many things as possible, because there is theory, class exercise, there are solved examples, there's practice exercise, there's pre-class quiz, and so on and so forth. So you have to figure out how much it is that you want to do. You can decide to do everything. You can decide to be a little bit specific, and you can say that, okay, I'm going to do only XYZ things out of the ones that are available to me. So I would definitely suggest you to do theory, class exercise, practice exercise, and the benchmarking test. Now, in August and September, so the next 2 months, you should try and finish module 1 for yourself. So those of you who have joined, let's say, the classroom program or our live online programs, typically it takes us about 2 months, 1.5 to 2 months to finish a particular module. Which means that if you decide to stay with the pace that is there for the classes, you will be able to finish your module 1 within 2 months. What I've also done is I've incorporated buffers wherever possible, because I know that there will be some college exams or projects that come up at work, because of which you may not be able to do everything the way I have written here. And that is why there's buffer also. And whenever you are deciding your own schedule, you should be factoring in that buffer as well. So module 1, you should try and finish in August and September of this year. Then moving to the next 2 months, which is October and November, try to complete module 2. Now what you'll also see is I've written module revision, because when you're preparing for CAT, it is definitely going to happen that you'll start forgetting a lot of concepts that you've studied previously. So because there is too much to learn, first of all. So if you don't revise, it is going to be a problem. And that is why you should incorporate revision in your entire schedule. So what I've done is, when I say M1, it stands for module 1 in short. So if you've done module 1 in August and September, right, then try to do a revision of that in October. Now the revision has to be very quick. You should not be spending too much time on it. And that is why it becomes very important to do anything that you are studying for the very first time. Do it so seriously and do it in a manner just so that your revision goes down. So your revision time has to be maybe 1/4 or 1/5 of the time that you take to do a topic for the very first time. So incorporate M1 revision, which is module 1 revision, in October. And then in November, you don't have to do any form of revision, because you're already doing module 2 over October and November. Now, after this, M2 revision should happen in December. Now, I've written buffer there. So that buffer is important because maybe there are some college exams, so there's some work pressure, maybe whatever happens, because of which you're not able to deliver or do everything that is there. In that case, keep some buffer, so that target should be very simple, that by the end of December, let me try and do module 1 and module 2. Now, some of you who are watching this video, maybe you have already started your preparation. Some of you maybe will be starting a little later. In whatever case, if you try to adjust your pace in such a manner that you're able to finish this by December, it will really be helpful. Does that mean that if you, let's say, finish it in Jan, is that going to be a very big problem? The answer is no, not really. Because see, everybody is at a different stage of preparation. So don't really worry in case you're not able to finish this. But your first aim has to be that let me try and do it by the end of December. So what are things we are going to do by the end of December? Module 1 and module 2, which is basically about 50% of your preparation. And we're also going to complete revision of module 1 and module 2 by the end of December. Okay, I hope that is clear. So that's the aim that you need to have. So your first round and your revision to be done by end of December. Now let's focus on what we'll do next year, which is going to be in the year 2025. So the first thing that we'll start with is we'll continue this approach of doing theory, class exercise. Now for theory, we also have pre-class concept videos. So if you're somebody who is more of a visual kind of a learner, or you prefer learning by watching videos, you can also do pre-class concept videos instead of going through the theory that is there. Now class exercise, practice exercise, I already mentioned what it is. Now you'll continue for Jan-Feb for module 3, okay? And then module 4 on March and April. Now some of you may be students, so you have your exams, and I know that. And that is why there's a buffer in May, which means that let's say my exams are in March or they're in April, so that I'm not able to do a lot of CAT prep during that period, I can always push it a little bit. So if you think, okay, in March I have exams, March becomes buffer, and then April, May you finish module 4. The aim is to ensure that by the end of May, you have completed all the modules, at least the first round of it, and then the revision. Now what you will see is that because you have done M1 revision in October, I have put M1 revision after a few months, which is in Feb. See, because if you do M1 revision in October and you don't touch it till the time SimCATs begin, which is let's say around May, you will forget a lot of things. And that is why a quick revision of module 1 should also be done when you are in February. Okay. So I have incorporated revision for each module. So generally 1 month for a module is more than enough because you're also preparing something for the very first time. So let's say for example in March, you're doing module 4 for the very first time and you're doing module 3 revision. In April, you're doing module 4, some part of it for the very first time, you're doing M2 revision. This ensures that by the time May is done, you have completed all the 4 modules, the core CAT modules that we give to our students by the end of May. Okay. Now, what do you do from June to August? So June, July, August, another 3 months, you will continue revising your modules. So M1, M2, M3, M4, all 4 modules, a quick revision should happen. Okay. See, as you progress, you will realize that your revision time goes down significantly. The first time I learn, let's say time, speed, distance, I end up spending a lot of time understanding the concepts, doing the solved examples, struggling with the questions that are there. But once I've gone through that frustration and once I've understood the concepts, the revision is going to become super smooth, right? So that is why the revision time will start going down. Because what will happen is by the time you hit April, it's going to be the season where we start our SimCATs. So our SimCATs begin in the month of April. We start with something called pre-SimCATs, which are at a slightly lower difficulty level compared to the actual CAT because we don't want to scare people. So that is why you start with pre-SimCATs in April. And then May onwards, we start with proctored SimCATs. So we have 2 types of SimCATs that students get. One is a proctored SimCAT, which you take during a defined window. Generally, the window is Friday to Monday. And then you get your national ranking. There are other SimCATs which are take home, which you can take at any point of time, right? So all of these tests, that is going to be your priority from April till November, which is the CAT month. So somewhere in the month of April, right? April, May is typically the months where you're also doing a lot of content, but you're also starting with your SimCATs. Once you're in the June to August phase, again, you're doing a lot of revision and your focus is on SimCATs. So there will be times when you're doing a lot of things, and that is why it's important to plan this out and execute it as much as possible so that by the time you hit April or May next year, you at least have completed 1 round of syllabus. So that's the whole aim I would say that you should have, which is to finish all 4 modules, the first round of it by April. Okay. Once you have done that, then the remaining journey becomes very, very smooth. I hope people will be able to do this. I know easier said than done for sure. It's always easy to put things on paper and say that this is how you should be doing it. Once you start doing it, you realize that it is definitely far more difficult than what it seems. So I know I'm with you on that. And there are going to be days when you feel that your preparation is not moving in any direction. The point that you need to understand is build those buffers in your schedule. Don't make it cut to cut because things don't work that way. Always account for any emergencies that can come up. And if, let's say, you miss a particular day, try and cover whatever you have missed as early as possible. So that's for the first segment wherein we have covered the preparation timeline. I hope you have got this. If you have any questions, you can always leave it as a comment. That brings us to the second part of the discussion, which is going to be managing your college or work along with CAT preparation. So whenever you are a student or a working professional, so I have two segments that I've created, one for student and one for working professionals. So what are the things that you should be considering as a student, right? Now, the first and foremost thing is your college grades. So a lot of times we get students who come and say that because I was preparing for CAT, I was not able to score well on my final year exams. Now, that's a very bad excuse to give. So firstly, your college grades matter because firstly, you're going to graduate only once. Keep that in mind. Don't think purely from the lens of, let's say, getting more marks on your CAT application or in the IM shortlisting process. That should not be the motive. You have to understand that your graduation scores stay with you for the rest of your life. And what matters is when you fill the CAT form, you have to enter your CGPA, which is for all the semesters that you have obtained on a cumulative basis. So that is why, let's say you're somebody who is currently entering the final year, right? Or let's say you're somebody who has not done very well in your graduation so far. What do, right? The only thing that you should focus on, apart from CAT preparation, of course, is going to be how do I improve my grades? So work on that, improve your grades as much as possible. The second thing that I would suggest is you split your total hours that are available in three ways. The first is college sessions because you have to attend your college. The second thing is going to be assignments. And the third thing is going to be CAT preparation. And to assist you on that, the final point is very important, which is avoid overloading yourself beyond what you can handle. See, I've seen a lot of times people take up things that are just too much, right? And remember that you will not be able to maximize all the variables in life. So don't take too many things. Maybe you're somebody who is, let's say, a road track club member. You want to do an internship. You're also preparing for CFA level 1. You're doing CAT preparation. You're also assisting your father or mother in family business. It may not be possible to do everything, right? So that is why don't try to do everything. Figure out what all activities will create the maximum impact on your application or on your life in general, and then stick to that. Don't try to do a lot of things because what will happen is it will consume the time and energy both, because of which you may not be able to do enough justice to your CAT preparation. So that is why don't try and do too many things. Whatever you want to do, of course, continue doing that. I'm not saying that you should not be doing extracurriculars or your hobbies. Definitely have time for that, but understand that priority order is very important. Do not forget that. So first priority is going to be your college grades, your assignments, submissions, and all of that. The second priority will be CAT preparation. And the third thing is, if there is any time left, you can always do extracurriculars, hobbies, and so on. Let's talk about working professionals. Now, working professionals, because again, I'm also a working professional, so I know I can understand what issues you may be facing. So first thing is that a lot of times there's a temptation that let's study on the weekends, right? So avoid restricting your study time only on the weekends. That's not going to happen. So you should also create study pockets throughout the week. What I mean by that is, let's say you're somebody who is a working professional, 9 to 6, you're occupied. Let's say work time, maybe travel, etc. So let's say you leave home at 8 o'clock in the morning, come back at 7. You will still have a lot of time that you can use for CAT preparation. So that is why on a daily basis, you can always take maybe one day in a week as complete break. But at least once, whatever, in the day, at least in the morning or in the evening, whatever that works for you, figure out what is that 1.5 hour that I can spare for CAT preparation. So don't think that I'll study only on the weekends. Generally, that does not happen because I'm assuming that most of you who are working professionals will also enroll for the weekend batches for CAT prep. When you do that, typically you will have about 6 hours of classes on the weekend. Now, if you have that, alongside preparing generally becomes a little difficult because you also have some other activities to do. You also want to enjoy your life, so that is always there. So that is why you may not find so much time. That is why studying on a daily basis is important. The second thing is maintaining a consistent work schedule as much as possible. What I mean by that is you don't have to respond to work mails after a particular point of time. So if you know that, okay, after let's say 8 o'clock, nobody is replying on work emails, you don't have to be there. So figure out what are these boundaries. If you have those defined boundaries at work, it definitely helps. And the third thing which a lot of people think about is should I quit my job, right? Now understand that consider the quitting option. It's something that you can consider only as a last resort. If let's say situation is so bad that you're not getting enough time to study, maybe you're working 12, 13, 14 hours, the workplace is toxic and so on. If it's taking too much toll on you, right, then maybe you can say that, okay, I should quit. But otherwise, don't consider quitting. And when you fill the CAT form, you have to enter work experience as on end July. So that also will become a consideration that by the time I fill the CAT form, let me continue working. Once I fill the form, maybe then I can take a call whether I want to continue or I want to quit. So those of you who are again thinking of CAT 25, if let's say you already graduated, please start working right away. It will be the best thing that you can do from now. If you're somebody who is graduating in 25 and thinking of taking up a job, if you follow the schedule that we discussed in the first part, definitely you will be in a position where you can work and then also take your SIMCATs and all of that, do your revision and face CAT 25. So that is why you have to plan very well. Then this thing will not bother you. But if you're somebody who has not planned, then you will always keep thinking, should I quit? Because it creates a false illusion that once you quit, you think that I'm going to get a lot of time. I will give 8-10 hours for CAT preparation. Does not happen. Okay, so you will not be able to study so much. So definitely consider it only as the last option. You can always think if your, let's say, current job is not that great, think of switching, right? Think of taking up something which is less hectic. So there is always a solution. Quitting is generally not the best solution. So keep that in mind. I hope this has helped. We'll talk about the habits that anybody who is thinking of CAT 25 should build. So what are these habits of successful candidates? Now let's understand that CAT preparation is one part of the entire journey. But the other thing that you also need to understand is there's a lot of peripheral preparation, something that sits on the fence but helps you to get the score that you desire. Now what are these things? The first thing is going to be solving puzzles and crosswords. If you notice the DLR section of CAT, it relies heavily on your ability to understand data, understand logical statements that are given to you, and then figure out the solution to it. So if you do a lot of puzzles, it always helps you to improve your thinking process. And that in turn helps you to do your DI and LR in a faster manner. The other thing is crosswords. Now crosswords also help you to improve your vocabulary because you come across some words, there are meanings that are given and you have to find what word fits in. So that is why doing puzzles and crosswords, these two things really help in improving your logical and thinking ability and also your vocabulary. The second thing is going to be following news and current affairs. Now, a lot of people think that I should not be reading news, I can watch news, and that is completely fine. You can watch news. See, reading, you should have a purpose to that also, and watching news should have its own purpose as well. So, if you're watching news, that is completely fine. It will help you to improve your spoken English as well because you're listening to a lot of English. Now, it also helps you to improve your general knowledge. Now, you may be thinking, CAT is not going to ask me any GK, so why should I be watching news or reading news? See, when you think of CAT preparation journey, the first part of it is CAT. Once that happens, you have your result, then they shortlist you. And when you go for your interviews, you need to have awareness about your surroundings. And that is where GK comes into picture. So don't completely neglect it. At the same time, I'm not saying that you should be spending, let's say, 1-2 hours of your day just reading the news. That is not going to help. So current affairs are important. I would suggest that 15-20 minutes per day should be fine. Or you can say maybe 2 hours in a week, right? So you can decide a slot. Let's say you're free on the weekend. 2 hours, you just go through whatever happened during the week. That is another way in which this can be approached. The third thing that I want you to focus on is improving your calculation speed. Now, you don't have to be a human calculator. So don't think that I should be able to calculate, let's say, 99 into 97 very, very quickly. That is not the point. The point is to push your ability to do mental calculations as much as possible. So can I at least make an attempt? Given a 99 into 97, can I at least break it down into a 97 into 100 minus 1? And if I can do that, I have achieved the objective. So though CAT gives you an on-screen calculator, the rest of the test, whether it is XAT, NMAT, SNAP, etc., they are not going to give you any online calculator. And that is why in the first 4 to 6 months that I have, let me focus also on building my calculation speed. It will hardly take you 10 to 15 minutes per day when you just throw random questions at yourself. For example, I just created a question as you saw. You can create questions like these and try to solve it as much as possible without using any form of external assistance. So that is why don't use a calculator. You will have to use it for a few questions in the actual test, but we'll get there. For now, let's not worry too much about it and let's not get into using calculator. So as much as possible in the initial few months, I would suggest that you stay away from it. And that brings us to the last thing, which is reading books and articles. And I can't stress upon the importance of this one activity. So everybody thinks that if I read, it is going to help me in English. It is going to help you in other sections also. See, because when your reading speed goes up, you're able to read a quant question faster. You're also able to read a DLR caselet faster. So your reading speed is going to help you to read everything in a fast manner, and that will help you to solve questions in a faster manner. So reading books and articles, very, very important. Also from the perspective of maths, quant and DLR, not only from the angle of the verbal section. VRC, of course, it's obvious that reading books and articles is going to help you. The question could be, what do I read, right? So try and read international sources as much as possible. About 30-40 minutes a day should be more than enough. If you read it on a consistent basis for, let's say, the next 2-3 months, you will start seeing a lot of improvement in your own English, your ability to understand it, your ability to understand the meanings of the words, your vocab will improve, your speed will improve, comprehension, and your focus will improve. So all of these things just because you have started reading, right? So see, these are some of the habits that will really help you. As I mentioned, this is peripheral preparation. This is not core prep. But I hope the first slide that we discussed, right, which is the core preparation, if you take care of that, if you devote, let's say, about an hour per day for this, I'm sure you're going to have a far better outcome. So that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you have found this useful. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do it right away. Thank you so much for watching. Wish all of you all the best. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat window. Bye.